When you first dip your toes into the world of watches, you're met with an insurmountable wall of information made up of hundreds of different publications, YouTube channels, and Instagram accounts. Amongst the jumbled opinions and 20-digit reference numbers, one thing is clear: you must hate Hublot. At a time when more people than ever are getting into watches, I think it's important to remind ourselves that watches are essentially toys. Of course, it would be no fun if everybody agreed and had the same taste, but this blanket statement that Hublot sucks is getting rather tiresome. I think this idea comes along with the foolish narrative that the only brands worth a damn are Rolex, Audemars Piguet, and Patek Philippe. And while I'm not going to justify liking a brand everyone hates by hating the brands everyone likes, I do think it's worth noting that the world of watches as a whole has become increasingly more popular than it had any right becoming, thus creating a narrative of one size fits all in terms of taste. Part of the appeal of watches, at least for me, is that they are a wonderful way of expressing oneself. And what would the point of expressing yourself be if you were to just wear the same watch that everyone else wears? The contrarian in me just wants to like everything that everyone else hates, but Hublot is more than that. They've quickly become one of, if not my favorite manufacturers in the industry. Contrarian attitude aside, it's hard to argue their mastery of materials. Their sapphire cases appeal to me like nothing else. There's just something about them that brings me back to the early 2000s, where every toy was some variation of translucent plastic. That, in short, is what I want from a watch. I want it to be something I would have loved as a child, not just something that I would appreciate as an adult. The same goes for the colored ceramic watches, particularly those with the integrated ceramic bracelets. As an artist, I need to have color in my life, and those watches just do it for me. Part of this, I think, has to do with the design of the Big Bang starting to become rather iconic. Disagree if you want, bring up Gerald Genta and the Royal Oak if you want, but the Big Bang has carved its own way at this point in the game. In addition to the design of the case, the presentation of the skeletonized movements seem to complement the materials and color of these cases quite well. Regardless of complication, they appear to flawlessly suit the rest of the watch surrounding it. To me, Hublot has really hit the mark in recent years, and it's encouraging to see. All my admiration for the brand, however, does not mean that I like every watch they make, because I don't. But that can be said for almost any manufacturer, even beyond watches. Brand loyalty is a real thing, and one that is very human. We want to associate ourselves with something that makes us feel special or different, and it just feels good for some reason. With this in mind, we need to have the confidence to admit when one of our brands does something that we don't like, which in turn helps them be better brands themselves. At the end of the day, we all want to feel special and show off a bit. That's what watches are about if you're able to admit it to yourself. With watches, it's easy to fall into the trap that it's some intellectual journey or symbol of wisdom, and in some ways it is, but remember, they're just toys.